Shalom. All praises to the Heavenly Father, Anukuya. Praise be to the earthly mother, the Pachamama, and all of her earthly angels, the Ergadeshwe. Praise be to the Holy Spirit, the Kahe, in the name of his only begotten Son, Motsah the Lamb, unification to the nation. So, I decided that I was going to break this into even more parts. So, I'm just going to do a little short, hopefully short, lesson about the Denisovans, and where I think who they are, or who I think they are, and why they ended up where they ended up, which was Siberia, right? And I think lightly, if you have time, if it's not too long of a video, I'm gonna add something else at the end regarding why, like the natives come from quote unquote Siberia. So anyway, let's begin. So this is the map that I'm doing on pretty much the before the flood type of map, right? Of who everyone was, and and probably why there are certain groups of people who people don't know who they are today, because they're trying to link them with Shem, Ham, or Japheth, and they predate Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And I believe that's the reason why these scriptures were preserved, so that we would be able to identify who these people were, and thus identify everyone else, including us. So this map that I've made, and this is pretty much based on the Book of Remembrance of our ancient grandmothers. And when I first read it, I was just like, oh, no way. It couldn't have taken place, in Western Asia. That doesn't make any sense. But again, things aren't really opened up to you until you learn how to be humble about things. So when I reread this book again, I had to do it with a fully open mind, without, having any preconceived notions in my own head, right? Not based on how they look or where these people are supposed to be from. No, I just laid myself bare and be like, all right, let me just find out exactly where these places are, where they're taking place. I read the text myself, and the only place that the events of that book could take place truly is in this area, right? It's the only place it could have taken place in. So I had to, humble myself down in that regard. So it does take place in Central or Western Asia, right? But I'm still correct about where I believe some places are. So the reason why I'm saying all this is because this is very significant when it comes to why they find, very old pieces of the Denisovan DNA markers in Siberia and Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, just in this area right here. But they think that it probably originated over here, or possibly somewhere in the Pacifics. Now, I believe that the place that quote unquote Adam and Eve were at an early point was actually Papua New Guinea. The reason being is because sugarcane, it doesn't grow anywhere else other than really around this area. So I believe that they were actually in this area. But I also believe that they actually were indeed in Siberia or Russia, or just this area in general. I do believe that they were. So anyway, let me touch on something before I close the map. So the black right here is pretty much the sons of Ham. Like, they're just all around. I'm not going to limit them to a certain space, because when I made my video, I sort of limited them to southern Sudan, possibly over going towards Nigeria. But honestly, who's to say that they didn't inhabit the whole damn continent, right? Who's to say that? Now, there was another group of people who came and mixed in with them, and we might touch on this group in part 3 or 4. depending on how many parts of the series there's going to be. But I'm not going to limit who the sons of Ham are, because I don't know who they are. Right? I just know that this is their original lands. Whomever came after is whomever came after. And there's a similar event taking place when it comes to Ur of the Chaldees. And I looked at this again, and listen, man, to me, bro, there's no other possible place where Ur of the Chaldees can be other than Paraguay. According to this book, according to Book of Remembrance of Our Ancient Grandmothers, and as well as when you precept it with Haggai, there is no other place where Ur of the Chaldees can be other than this area right here. There's no other place on earth. I've looked through the whole place. There's no other place, bro. I promise you, there's no other place. There's no other place where people lived in ancient times like the people of Ham. There's also marshlands. There's very limited marshlands all around the world. And this is one of the biggest in the world. So, there's no other place. It's not possible. And also, Ur of the Chaldees is south of the holy city. Let that resonate. Is that talking about the Amazon? Is it talking about Peru? Is it talking about all the way up here? I don't know. But I do know that it is south of the holy city. Anyway, let's begin. Let me just read this real quick. The Book of Remembrance of Our Ancient Grandmothers takes place in an area west of the Caspian Sea, mostly between the Greater and Lesser Caucasus Mountains, and also west into modern-day Turkey. The Caspian Sea was called by the ancients the Shaman Sea because it sparkles in the sunlight. They called the land area Qatar, after a prominent mountain there. While the people of Enoch were isolated from the wicked, the people of Qatar were surrounded by encampments of wicked people. And that's just the thing, bro. Whomever was in this land of the Caucasus Mountains and Turkey, this is where the most wicked of the people were. They were centered in this area. And the righteous people, they were also in this area, surrounded by a bunch of wicked people. Right? And because of them, the wicked and their seed line had the ability to repent. Right? Now, I'm gonna be very vulnerable real quick, because it's just like I get kind of triggered and annoyed when people, they tell half truths, or I don't know, they're blatantly not telling the full story. That's when I kind of get annoyed, and I start to zone people out, because they made a good map here, right? And a lot of these places are correct. They put Toa in the right place, right? They put Toa here, right? In quote unquote Israel, right? They put it here. But you will notice that Halia, the valleys of Halia, are nowhere to be found. But they have no problem putting Qatar here. But Halia is also in this area of the Caucasus Mountains. Halia is the most wicked place. That is where the seed line of Cain came out of. The Caucasus Mountains, or at least this area. And they did not put this on this map. And that upset me. What also upset me is the fact that they did not mention where they believe where Ur of the Chaldees was. Right? And in the same book, it says that the land of Toa was far away from Motsah the Lamb. Right? So wherever his holy land is far away from Toa. So please tell me why these people are still thinking that the Holy Land is right below Toa. That makes no sense. No sense at all, bro. That's what, and stuff like that, it turns me off. But I have to be mature. I have to definitely be more mature, and I just have to be able to eat the meat and spit out the bones a bit better. So that's definitely on me. That's usually my issue when it comes to certain topics. So that's definitely on me. But anyway, we're going to start. Let me see where I wanted to go to. I don't actually remember where I wanted to go to in this book. I might have to come back to that. But we are going to get into the forgotten books of Eden. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, this is it. So we're gonna read from chapter 1. On the third day, God planted the garden in the east of the earth, on the border of the world eastward, beyond which, towards the rising sun, one finds nothing but water that encompasses the whole world, and reaches into the borders of heaven. In the north of the garden there is a sea of water, clear and pure to the taste, like nothing else, so that through the clearness thereof one may look into the depths of the earth. And when a man washes himself in it, becomes clean of the cleanliness thereof, and white of his whiteness, even if he were dark. And God created, and that's not talking about skin color, by the way, like the racist Mormons would assume. And God created the sea of his own good pleasure, and he knew what would come of the man he should make, so that after he had left the garden, on account of his transgression, men should be born in the earth, from among whom righteous ones should die, whose souls God would raise at the last day, when they should return to their flesh, should bathe in the water of the sea, and all of them repent of their sins. But when God made Adam to go out of the garden, he did not place him. So when Adam was escorted out of the garden with his wife, with his rib, he was not in the lands of the garden anymore, right? Pay attention. He did not place him at the border of it northward, lest he should draw near to the sea of water. And he and Eve washed themselves in it, and be cleansed from their sins, forget the transgression they had committed, and he no longer reminded of it in the thought of their punishment. Then, again, as to the south side of the garden, God was not pleased to let Adam dwell there, because when the wind blew from the north, it would bring him on that south side the delicious smell of the trees of the garden. Wherefore, God did not put Adam there, lest he should smell the sweet smell of those trees, and forget his transgression, and find a consolation for what he had done. Take delight in the sweet smell of the trees, and not be cleansed from his transgression. Again, also, God is merciful and of great pity, and governs all things in a way he alone knows. He made our father Adam dwell in the western border of the garden. The western border of the garden, right? Okay, because on that side of the earth is very broad. And God commanded him to dwell there in a cave in a rock, the cave of treasures below the garden. So he sent him on the western side, where the land is broad. It's open land, right? Now, I should have pulled this up before, but I can pull this up, and I touched on this in the video that I did. I think it was in, was it part 1? No, that was in the Karakatai video that I did, with the Chinese map, 1418. Yeah, and all of these different Chinese maps, where they put the Americas, they had them all the way at the east. Why? Because they understood that the sun rises first in these lands. These lands are all the way at the east of however the earth is shaped. But it's obviously not a ball. I'm not saying it's flat, but I'm not saying it's a ball, bro. I will never say it's a ball because that does not make any sense. No ball, bro. So this is the east. So the garden must be located in this area somewhere. I don't know. Somewhere in this great continent, in this great on this great island. Is it in the North Pole? Is it in North America? Is it in South America? I don't know. Amazon? Who knows? Right? I don't really know, bro. I don't really know because I hear just so many different things about first of all the four rivers, right? Some say that it literally flows out the garden. Others say that it flows from the tree of the garden underneath the earth, right? And there's a whole rabbit hole on Agartha and the hollow earth, which I might touch on this week. I don't know. But that's just what I wanted to show you. So they went to a place on the western part of the garden where the valleys were very broad, right? Now, we all know what was connected to North America. Not just West Europe, but also Russia and Asia pretty much. So, did the Most High send him over here? Right? Did he send him over here? To Siberia? Did he send, quote unquote, Adam, really is Yahawahshi, to Siberia? Did he? Let's go to chapter 2. We're not going to read that much, but when our father Adam and Eve went out of the garden, they trod the ground on their feet, not knowing they were treading. But when they came to the opening of the garden, of the gate of the garden, and saw the broad earth spread before them, covered with stones, large and small, and with sand. Hold up. Is that not describing this area right here? Is that not describing this area of Asia where the land is very broad and there's a bunch of stones everywhere covered in sand? Right? Some crap land, right? It's supposed to be crappy land because that land was meant for wicked people. Certain lands the Most High he has for righteous people and wicked people, you know. And if you want to behave like a righteous person, he'll bring you to righteous lands. The Greeks knew this. This is why they associated people by what type of land they were living in. And that's why when they got here, they called us una gente en Dios. Right? They knew who we were. This is the best land on earth. What I wanted to read. And when they came to the opening, covered with stones large and small and with sand, they feared and trembled and fell on their faces from the fear that came upon them, and they were as dead, because whereas they had hitherto been in the garden land, beautifully planted with all manner of trees, they now saw themselves in a strange land which they knew not and had never seen. And because at the time they were filled with the grace of a bright nature, and they had not hearts turned toward earthly things. Therefore had God pity on them, and when he saw them fallen before the gate of the garden, he sent his word unto Father Adam and Eve, and raised them from their fallen state. So they went to a broad land, right? Rocks. Okay. Now, and that's when I'm just like, okay, let me look into these Denisovans, because they also say that they originated in Siberia. They say that the natives originate there, you know. So, hey, let's get some truth down. And I've also looked up, you know, genetics. You know, I know how I do. I look at face structures, you know, and what certain scientists are saying. I don't even know the word for it. That's what I'm saying, scientists. But they're saying that the oldest racial group, quote unquote, is the Asian racial group. They must be saying that for a reason, right? Now, this is supposed to represent a Denisovan, but this is supposed to represent a quote unquote mixed race Denisovan, right? Because her father is a Neanderthal and her mother is a Denisovan. And this is the face structure that they came up with, right? Now they also have another quote unquote mixed race heritage Denisovan, right? I forgot. Oh man. Yeah, I remember now. The article closed because my computer was acting up. I forgot to open this one, but they pretty much said that quote unquote Hispanics, or you know, they're just really just natives, but that they get their puffy lip gene from Denisovans, right? That's what they said. But other groups of people who have Denisovan DNA, they don't have this gene. They also don't have the body structure that the natives have. The very round body structure that they seem to have, that they classify as being quote unquote Negro. The other groups of people around the world who have Denisovan DNA don't have this body structure. So that lets me know that they must have come from some sort of very pure line or some pure lineage, if you know what I mean. But you can see this face structure. You can see how these people look. Alright, that's just one account. Baffling 400,000-year-old clue to human origins. Scientists have found the oldest DNA evidence yet of humans' biological history, but instead of neatly clarifying human evolution, the finding is adding new mysteries. In a paper journal, blah blah blah, they had retrieved ancient human DNA from a fossil dating back from 400,000 years ago, shattering the previous record of 100,000 years ago. All these different these people, man, they're just ignorant. The fossil, a thigh bone found in Spain, had previously seemed to many experts to belong to a forerunner of Neanderthals, but its DNA tells a very different story. It most closely resembles DNA from an enigmatic lineage of humans known as Denisovans. Hold up. I thought they said that Denisovan DNA was only in Asia and some parts of the Americas. That's what they say, or that's what they said. But obviously, that's not true. You see, these Denisovans are the Ihines of Oahspe. They are the lineage of Seth. And until I'm proven wrong, the lineage of Cain are the Neanderthals. And we're going to touch on Oahspe, and we're going to get some clarification on what I'm saying. Until now, Denisovans were known only from DNA retrieved from 80,000 years ago remains in Siberia. Wow, so that's a big jump. 4,000 miles east of where the new DNA was found. Now, this is very big because they tried to say that Denisovans are an offshoot of Neanderthals, like they're a mutation that came out of the Neanderthal family. But in actuality, Neanderthals came out of Denisovans. The Neanderthal is a mutation of the Denisovan. And that's the truth. Right now, we've basically generated a big question mark, said Mathis Meyer, a geneticist at, okay, I don't care where you're a geneticist from, but let me see. Based on previously discovered ancient DNA and fossil evidence, scientists generally agreed that humans' direct ancestors shared a common ancestor with Neanderthals and Denisovans that lived about a million years ago in Africa. Okay. Their shared ancestors split off from humans' lineage and left Africa, then split further into Denisovans and Neanderthals about 3,000 years ago. The evidence suggested that Neanderthals headed west towards Europe and that the Denisovans moved east. Right? Okay. Now that's not necessarily the case. I'm gonna tell you. Let me tell you the story. Just let me just tell you the story, so I'm not just beating around the bush. After Cain killed Abel, or Kenna killed Mataniah, he ran to the Caucasus Mountains. Right? And, you know, he pretty much hid in a cave, right? And I'm guessing that's where they find the oldest quote-unquote Neanderthal DNA marker. But his kids were already around that area, and they grew. And they spread around. They spread about. Right? The people of Mayween, they were in Siberia. They were in this area. The people of the righteous seed line, the rest of quote unquote Adam and Eve's children, they were in Southeast Asia or the Pacific Islands. But many of them were called up. The ones who, I guess were not righteous, they stayed. But they are still of the lineage of them. That's why they find so much of that Denisovan DNA in the Pacific Islands. Because they're the descendants of, the parents. They're the descendants of Seth. But they're not necessarily the righteous of Seth. Because otherwise they would have been called up. All the righteous were called up except for She'ari. She'ari went to South America, in the interiors of South America. But She'ari, he came from Mayween. He came from the people of Mayween. And where did the people of Mayween come from? They came from Asia. And that's why the natives, they have DNA markers that go back to Asia. That's how it goes. And the Neanderthals, they spread far and wide. Right? That's what they did. And they mixed in with everyone. And what pretty much happened is that both the Denisovans and the Neanderthals, they said they disappeared. And that's partially true. The Denisovans were called into heaven, and the Neanderthals were wiped out. Both of their descendants are still here, as the seed line of Seth and the seed line of Cain. And that's the story. That's how it goes. Particularly the seed line of Cain. How they originally looked is something similar to the people in this area. And this is why the scriptures calls this the Isles of the Gentiles. These are the Isles of the seed line of Cain. These are the children of Javan, or Javin, or Javin, however you want to say it. Javen in the Book of Remembrance. The Bible, it calls him Javan as a son of Japhet, but he's not a son of Japhet. He's intermingled with Japhet, but he's not from Japhet. Japhet is his own entity. And Javan and Tubal, they are not his children, as I've gone over many times. But the people of Javan, it says in grandmothers how their skin looked. It said that their skin was red. Right? Red. Like ruddy red. I'll show you real quick. Kind of like this right here. Kind of like that. That type of skin. Let me show you. Like this. He's not white. He's red. Like the devil. Hold up. Alright, sorry, my boss called me. I guess you want to talk about something, I don't know. But yeah, they're red like this, Red like the devil. I'm just joking. The devil is not red. I don't even know what color he is, you know. And maybe he is red like this. Who knows? I don't know. So this is the map I wanted to show you. And they're on like a good like how do I say it? They're on a good track with what they're saying. They're saying the Denisovan cave was here. Was this the cave that quote unquote Adam and Eve were in? The Denisova cave? Was that the cave? I don't know. But I do think that they were in this area at some point. And it seems like they migrated over here. Or they did it the opposite direction. I don't know, bro. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell because I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how it all works out, but I don't know how it sequences, I mean. But I do know that there was a migration of some point. And you know, the seed line of Seth, they were in this area. And Cain, he started up his seed line with the Neanderthals. And it's obvious that, you know, he placed some sort of curse on himself with his actions. And we're going to see what I mean by that. Now, who are this third group of people? I don't know. I really don't know. Who came from Africa? Is this talking about the Asuans? I don't know. No idea, bro. Another picture. Let me see what I wanted to read here. The team found that there are okay. I'm not reading all that, but let's see how they describe them. Compared to modern humans, Denisovan had wider skulls, a long face, a sloping forehead, large dental arches, no chin, and a large pelvis. So they had big teeth, they had wide skulls, they didn't have long dolichocephalic skulls, they didn't have elongated skulls. So no, they were not Africans. They had a wide skull, meaning they were more Asian looking. They had high cheekbones and everything, right? They had a longer face. So again, these people don't resemble quote unquote Africans, nor do they really represent Caucasians either. My boss is bothering me. I might have to hurry this up. Alright, let me get to the point, man. Because this dude's gonna keep bothering me. Understandably, of course. Now, they're saying that the Denisovans could have also looked like this, bro. Huh? So you mean to tell me that the Denisovans look like Mayans? Is that what you mean to tell me, bro? Look, the Mayans had quote unquote dreadlocks. Alright, let me hurry up, bro. Neanderthals evolved in Europe and Asia while modern humans, our species, Homo sapiens, were evolving in Africa. Judging from fossil evidence from these people in northern Spain, the Neanderthal lineage was already well established in Europe. So, the Neanderthals spread around Asia and West Europe. That's where they did. Let me see what I wanted to read. Now, here is the punchline. Denisovans were probably dark-skinned, unlike the pale Neanderthals. Did I just say that? Alright then. Alright then. I didn't say that. Coming out the horse's mouth. Let's move on. How tall were Denisovans? 3 to 4 feet. These were pygmies, bro. These were pygmies. Pygmies. Now, I asked, what do they think the type of hair texture that these people had? They said, we do not know if their hair was curly or straight. Which I do say that. I'm like, I think, I think they had either one. Because I think that the quote unquote black race and the Asian race was one race, pretty much. Like, they're the same race. They just delineated. But anyway, a specific study needs to be made based on existing DNA sequences. Yet most likely both their hair was more often straight, which offers a better support in cold climate than curly hair. Maybe not. I don't know. Neanderthal hair and skin, from what I read, it seems that Neanderthal skin was light to almost white. Oh! I'm gonna save that for the next part, bro. That's too much heat, bro. Let me see. And you're probably wondering, why the hell am I working this late? That's just because that's just kind of what one of my positions is. you know. What I want to read here, man. Yeah, so there you go. It says that there was a really old group right here in this area. So that's what I was thinking. Maybe they started here, right? So, and then they maybe went to Papua New Guinea, and then the group of Mayween went here. Like, I don't know how it works, man. But I'm pretty sure that no, I can't remember. Once Earth was home to a host of human species, from Neanderthals to Hobbits, but today only we survive. Who were the Hobbits, bro? Those were our ancient ancestors, the Hobbits, bro. Give me 1 second. Rewind to 30,000 years ago, as well as modern humans, 3 other hominid species were around: the Neanderthals in Europe and Western Asia, the Denisovans in Asia, and the Hobbits from the Indonesian islands of Flores. But are the Hobbits and the Denisovans one and the same? Are they older? I don't know, man. I don't know. How tall were these Hobbits? It said that the Denisovans are 3 to 4 feet tall. Unless these are like 1 feet tall, like. DNA from mysterious Denisovans help modern humans survive. Man, oh man, this dude nagging the hell out of me. I might have to end this video short.